Welcome Associate Professor Dr. Daisy Kee Mui Hung from USM Malaysia. And the reason for that is that Dr. Daisy is also my Ph.D. supervisor. So welcome, Dr. Daisy. Before I hand over to her, if I can share her profile. Dr. Daisy is an associate professor at the School of Management, Universiti Sains Malaysia, USM, in Penang, Malaysia. Dr. Daisy holds a PhD in Business and Management from the University of South Australia and an MBA from USM. With an extensive publication record of 109 ISI and Scopus-indexed journal papers, Dr. Kee is recognized for her significant academic contributions. She serves as the country director for both the Association of International Business and Professional Management, AIBPM, in Indonesia, and the Star Scholars Network in the United States. Her expertise is frequently sought after. Her expertise is frequently sought after as a keynote speaker at international conferences. Her exemplary work has earned several prestigious awards, including the Sanggar Sanjung Award and the Publication Excellence Award from USM, as well as the Merdeka Award from the Australia-Malaysia Business Council of South Australia. Her research interests include human resource management, organizational behavior, work values, leadership, organization psychology, and entrepreneurship. Dr. Daisy has shared her expertise globally as an external professor at Qingdao, Hengxing University of Science and Technology in China, and as a visiting professor at Pusan National University in South Korea. Dr. Daisy holds several prominent editorial roles, including chief editor of the Journal of Community Development in Asia, associate editor of the Journal of Chinese Human Resource Management, and senior editor of Global Business and Organizational Excellence. She is also an Entrepreneurship Fellow 2024-2025 at USM. Welcome, Dr. Daisy.
Mr. Sunday, thank you so much for your introductions. Okay, good morning, everyone, and salam sejahtera, selamat pagi, distinguished guests, fellow researchers, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to express my sincere appreciations to AIBPM for giving me the golden opportunity to serve as a keynote speaker for this conference. It's truly an honor for me to be here to present my topic, Industry 5.0 meets Sustainability, Demographic Drivers of Battery Electric Vehicle, or BEV adoptions in transitions to cleaner energy transportations. This topic, in fact, reflects a promising opportunity, I would say, how Industry 5.0 can drive the next wave of sustainable transformation in the transportation industry. My study explored how the human dimensions, particularly demographic characteristics, influences the adoptions of BEV within the transportation industry, and also in the context of 5.0 and the sustainable development. As the 2025 Bali ICPM conference team focuses on the cultural intelligence in global management, bridging diversity and strategy, this study aligned closely with the 2025 Bali ICPM conference team. Cultural intelligence and demographic diversity affects how different groups perceive emerging technology, sustainable initiative, and environmental responsibility. So understanding these differences is actually important for designing inclusive strategy that encourage BEV adoptions across diverse populations. And that will actually help to ensure the transition to cleaner energy transportations, but also culturally responsive and socially equitable. What is the motivations of the study? As we are aware, today transportation stands as one of the largest contributors to global carbon emissions. According to the International Energy Agency, transportation sector accounts for nearly 1/4 of total carbon dioxide emissions worldwide. Is about 24% in 2015 and 23.3% in 2022. And these are not just numbers. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the wake-up call for us, a call for cleaner mobility. And the transition to cleaner energy transportation is no longer optional. It's an environmental, economic, and social imperative. Around the world, many countries have adopted important policies to support the adoptions of EV, electric vehicle, and decarbonized transportations. Ladies and gentlemen, is there any difference between EV and BEV, electric vehicle and battery electric vehicle? Yes, there is. Okay, EV is any vehicle that use electricity, okay, be it fully or partially. It could be a hybrid. Okay, so it's called electric vehicle, whereas EV is a specific, whereas BEV, battery electric vehicle, is a very specific type of EV where BEV runs 100% on electricity. And this study, we focus on China leadership in BEV. Why China? Do you know that China is the largest market for BEV in terms of the total sales and also the number of vehicles on the road? Okay, for your informations, China has more than 50% of BEV sold worldwide. And in 2022, China accounted for nearly 60% of the global EV car sales, and 40% of light commercial vehicles, and more than 80% of the sales are electric two-wheelers and buses, along with 85% of electric trucks. And China has strong domestic brand. I'm sure you are very familiar with BYD, SAIC, Great Wall. And in the world, China lead by total BEV sales and productions volume. And this study focused on one specific province, that is Guangdong province. And why Guangdong province? Because Guangdong province is a model of innovation and progress. For your information, Guangdong province is a national leader in the cleaner energy transportation movement. It has the largest public EV charging network in the country. Cities like Shenzhen have over 75% of new car registrations, and there are new energy vehicles. Ladies and gentlemen, what does it mean? It means that 3 out of every 4 new car, they are clean, electric, and also future ready. So in Guangdong, as I mentioned, Guangdong is a model of innovation and progress. So in Guangdong, we are not only witnessing the growth of EV, we are also seeing the rise of green manufacturing, where you can see companies like BYD, GSC, ION, they have lead in terms of the low carbon productions and also the expansions of intelligent transportation system. For example, in Shenzhen, you can see there are AI-driven smart buses. In Guangzhou, you can see digital traffic platform and the development of smart energy infrastructures. And this study, we focus on Industry 5. Okay, Industry 5 is more than the next industrial revolutions, is actually emphasis on human-centric, sustainable, and inclusive technological transitions. Is beyond the automations. Is there any difference between Industry 5 and Industry 4? Yes. Okay, Industry 5 basically emphasizes on the human-centric collaborations. and human-centered evolutions is a collaborations between human and the intelligent system, whereas Industry 4 focuses on the smart automations. Okay, what is the research gap for this study? In this context, we can see the transition to BEV is not only about technology, it's about people, their age, income, their awareness, their educations, and the people lifestyle. So we believe that these demographic drivers will affect how individuals perceive the value, how they trust the technology, and make the environmentally responsible choices. It's important because different demographic will have distinct needs, resources, and perceptions. So by understanding the differences in terms of the demographics characteristic, policymakers and industry leaders, they can design inclusive and effective sustainability strategy that empower all segments of society to participate and benefit from the green transitions. So we have two key research objectives. The first key research objective, we assess the key technology and feature that will affect the consumer preferences for BEV in China. In the layman term, this is what we want to find out. What actually made people to choose BEV? Is it because of the battery range, or is it because of the charging speed, smart connectivity? These are the questions we are trying to answer to understand what truly drives the adoptions in the age of intelligent mobility. The second research objective, we focus on the demographic pathway analysis. We want to know the true essence of Industry 5 by all the human elements. Okay, we explore how the demographic characteristic, for example, age, gender, income, and educations. Okay, how do these demographic characteristics influence people environmental awareness, their awareness of BEV, and ultimately their intention to purchase? Because sustainable change doesn't happen through technology alone, we always believe that it only happens when the people embrace it. I would like to show you, this is our research model. So you can see in this slide, we have 4 independent variables. They are the main key demographic factors. For example, gender, age, education level, monthly income. We have 1 DV, dependent variable, the purchase intentions of BEV. We have 2 mediators, environmental awareness, and awareness of battery electric vehicles, awareness of BEV. So believe that these 2 forms of awareness connect who we are, our age, income, education, and value, with how likely we are going to adopt BEV. So let's move on to the methodology sections. This study employed a quantitative cross-sectional design. Data was collected from 300 respondents in Guangdong, and the finding shows that over half of the participants were female, and over 80% of the participants were Gen X and Gen Y, 30% was Gen Z, and about 50% of the participants hold master degree, and more than half of the participants actually in the top 20% bracket income level. Later, I'm going to explain further about this income level. So you can see in this slide that over half of the participants were female, and over 80% of the participants were Gen Z and Gen Y. In terms of educations, over half, 65% of the respondents were postgraduate degree holder, including masters and PhD. And this actually tells us that the sample is highly educated. And as for the measurement instrument, all variables in this study demonstrated strong internal consistency with chroma alpha value exceeding 0.7. As for the findings, you can see across all demographic groups in Guangdong, battery technology and charging infrastructure stand out as the top priority during the BEV purchase decisions. You can see in the slides, younger generation, especially Gen Y and Gen Z, they place stronger emphasis on the battery innovations as well as the charging convenience, whereas Gen X show greatest interest in the motor efficiency and autonomous driving feature. As for the income group, I divided them into three main categories. Okay, they are top 20%, middle 40%, and bottom 40%. For the bottom 40%, averagely they are below 1,000, below 2,500 USD. And for the middle 40% income group, their income range, annual income range is between the 2,005 USD to 14,000 USD, and the top 20%, okay, income group is above 14,000 USD annually. So you can see by income level, top 20% value advanced feature such as autonomous driving and energy recovery system, whereas the bottom 40 focus more on the battery durability and charging reliability. So to summarize, our findings highlight that technological preferences are influenced by who the user are, and not just the technology can do. So this review the Industry 5.0 principle, aligning innovation with human diversity and inclusivity. So these are the findings. And let's move on to the discussions. So from the discussion, I would like to talk about the four main discovery. First is education emerges as the strongest predictor of both environmental awareness, awareness of BEV, and also BEV purchase intention. And that actually suggests that how knowledge empower individuals to make sustainable transport choices. Okay, as for the income, we can see that higher income level significantly enhance both environmental and BEV awareness and intention, and that actually show that how economy, accessibility, how income level can continue to influence BEV adoptions. In terms of the generational openness, we can see younger generations, especially Gen Y and Gen Z, they are more open to embrace new technology like BEV. As for the gender considerations, we found that male participations in terms of the purchase intention or the adoption of BEV is relatively higher than the female participants. And that actually hint us about the gender-based differences in the sustainable transportation preference. Okay, so what are the policy implications? Here I look at the four areas. The first focus is on the continual investment in the battery technology and charging infrastructures. Okay, for example, the government can actually expand the fast charging network, especially in the rural area or the underserved areas. Why? Because that will actually reduce the anxiety and also ensure the equitable access to clean mobility across China. The second area that I would like to talk about is the demographic specific strategy. Why is this important? Because policy and marketing efforts should tailor to different groups to meet and cater the needs of different groups. For example, how do they actually do that? They can actually engage women through campaigns connecting the Gen Y and Gen Z through the digital educations, or to use the targeted content that speak to diverse motivations and lifestyle. The third approach is about educations. So educations can be strengthened as a key driver of adoptions of BEV. So how? So the government can actually integrate the sustainability and even the green mobility into the school curriculum. And the public outreach will actually help to nurture generations that appreciate sustainability and green mobility. Lastly, to address the income-based barrier, financial incentives such as subsidies, tax credit coupled with the accessible information campaign will help to make BEV more affordable and accessible, and of course attractive to lower and middle income group. Lastly, I would like to conclude the study. The road to BEV adoption isn't just about the technology, it's about the people who embrace it. So ladies and gentlemen, our finding shows that education and income, these two are the key drivers of the awareness and also the intention to adopt BEV. So to advance BEV adoptions, policy must blend innovations with inclusivity. Investing, for example, they can invest in charging infrastructure, they can strengthen the environmental educations and making the sustainable transport to affordable for all. That's all for my presentations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Daisy, and especially for highlighting the importance of the human focus with Industry 5.0, how you bring together technology and the human perspective. We have a few questions, Dr. Daisy, and as you were speaking, it kind of reminded me that I think 2024 was the first year when BYD overtook Tesla, both in terms of sales volume as well as total revenue, right? So that's a
Yep.
significant shift in the dynamics of BEVs. The question, Dr. Daisy, from the experience in China for policymakers in other countries, what would be your advice to them in terms of what works, what doesn't work, and how to adapt it to improve acceleration of BEV adoption across the world?
Thank you, Mr. Sandeep, for your question. Okay, first we must actually understand the different motivations, because every country, they have different cultures. In some cultures, people adopt BEV for environmental reasons. In others, maybe because due to the cost saving, social status, or some culture, they actually emphasize on the technological preferences. So this will actually help the government, especially in the major economies, can adapt by understanding the different motivation. They can actually adapt the messages to each culture's value. Number two is about building trust in the new technology, because there are still, I would say, a vast group of people that are still, are relatively conversational. So it is very important to embed trust in the new technology to help them to communicate the benefits for to reduce the fear and also uncertainty and misinformation, so that the consumer or the potential customer, they will understand, okay, why EV, so that they have more trust to adopt in the new technology. The third approach is for the countries that can actually design, as I actually presented, they can design the inclusive policy and marketing. For example, they can create strategies that consider language, local norms, and lifestyle that make BEV more relatable and practical for different demographic groups, because we know that every groups they have different needs, so that it will be easier for them to adopt BEV. Fourth, and I would say is one of the very important strategy, is to improve the collaborations between the public and private partnership. For example, working with the government, suppliers, communities requires sensitivity to the cultural expectations. That will actually help to promote a smoother partnership and better policy implementations. Lastly, is about encouraging the sustainable behavior. That one is from the government. As I mentioned, education is one of the key driver for BEV adoptions. So it's very important for the government to embed the sustainability and also especially the green mobility into the school curriculum, so that the future generations and the Gen Z, the younger generations, they will have more awareness about the green mobility, and that will actually help in terms of the adoptions of BEV. That's all, Mr. Sandeep. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Daisy. And if I may actually ask a follow-up question on that last point that you were making about educating the younger generation about the benefits and the importance. From a demographic perspective, what are the factors that you think will make the biggest difference, particularly for that emerging segment, looking a little ahead?
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Sandeep. Thank you for your question. Yes, it's very interesting to look at the younger generations. And as I mentioned and presented, each of the generations, they may have different preference in terms of the technology adoptions of the BEV. Okay. For example, Gen Z and Gen Y, they place stronger emphasis on the battery innovation and charging convenience. So by looking at charging convenience, and in order for us to actually adopt more BEV, we must actually place confidence in terms of the charging network. So first, the government must actually expand the charging network, includes the rural area, make sure that the charging network is accessible, not only in shopping mall, highway, on the road, or maybe even at the rural areas, and it will actually help to place confidence among the Gen Z and Gen Y, the younger generations, in terms of charging convenience. They will see that it's convenience for them to charge and also to travel on the road. And of course, as I mentioned, Gen Y and Gen Z, they also place emphasis on the battery innovations. So the longer the battery can charge, the faster the battery can charge and the longer the battery can last, that would be the better news to encourage our young generations to adopt BEV. Yeah, that's all. Thank you, Mr. Sandeep.
Dr.
I hope
Daisy,
I
thank
answered
you.
your question.
You did very well indeed. In fact, it kind of reminds me of the technology acceptance model and the way you bridged it with linking it back to specific segments and understanding their needs. So thank you very much. And thank you for a very informative session on something that's really important today and going forward.